Ladies and gentlemen, today is Monday, March the 9th, 2026, and that means that it has been 237 days since the last time we saw Caitlin Clark play basketball. 237 days. That is an absurd amount of time. There are prison sentences that are longer than 237 days, and it certainly has felt like a prison sentence waiting for Caitlin to return to the court. However, in 2 days, that all becomes a distant memory. In 2 days, Caitlin Clark makes her return to the basketball court. In 2 days, Team USA plays its first FIBA basketball qualifying match down in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Ladies and gentlemen, she's back! That's right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the CC Report, and today I am pleased to bring you a Caitlin Clark-centric episode of the CC Report. Up until now, it has been a lot of discussion about the collective bargaining agreement negotiations, and we still are going to touch on that a little bit today. There are some things to talk about, but most of this is going to be chatting about Caitlin Clark, Caitlin's return to the court, and Caitlin's integration into Team USA basketball, which is something that Caitlin Clark fans have been waiting years to be able to see Caitlin performing with the USA senior national team, and we do not have very much longer to wait. It is only 2 days until the FIBA qualifying tournament down in San Juan, where Caitlin will be participating, and we'll finally be able to see how Caitlin looks back on a basketball court in a competitive play environment. And so we're going to talk about all of that, but first let's talk a little bit about the collective bargaining. When we last left, things were not looking good. I spent an entire episode a few days ago talking about the Players Association being in disarray, not really knowing which way was up, and not being able to form a cohesive framework and a consensus within its own player base in order to determine a path forward. When last we spoke, we didn't really know where we were standing. However, we had a tweet from Alexa Philippou telling us that the WNBA had submitted a counter proposal that previous evening after the WNBA PA had submitted a proposal on Friday night. And so now we're in a situation where we've had the Players Association submit a proposal, and then the league also submitting a counter proposal the day after the Players Association had submitted the proposal. This is clearly an accelerated proposal rate than what we had been seeing in the past, and it represents a huge step forward in terms of the processing since the Players Association had taken 5 days since receiving the WNBA's prior most recent proposal this past Sunday. So now we're looking at a situation where the WNBA and the WNBA Players Association are rapid fire exchanging proposals back and forth. And to me, that means a couple of things. Number one, it means that both sides are recognizing the lateness of the hour. It means that both sides are buckling down, and it means that both sides are trying to get some movement done and trying to get a deal done before the March 10th deadline, which is tomorrow, by the way. And so we are in a situation right now where there's been rapid fire proposals back and forth. Secondly, according to Annie Constable, Front Office Sports, there was no new details to share from either the league's proposal or the WNBA Players Association's counterproposal. So what that means, according to Annie, and I completely agree with her, is that we are in a situation where neither side is leaking anymore. That to me means that there is some progress happening behind the scenes, that both sides are recognizing that there's no point really in leaking information anymore until we actually have a deal hammered out. And so that's where the negotiations stand right now. We also have had some voice given by Caitlin herself and also by Breanna Stewart in interviews that were given the very first day of USA basketball camp. That was this previous Saturday. They had some suggestions in as far as the way to move forward. And let's go ahead and look at the article from Annie Constable. The headline: Caitlin Clark and Breanna Stewart push for a marathon CBA session. And I'll just read the pertinent parts. Progress is being made by inches instead of the yards required to get a deal done without risking the season. At USA Basketball Training Camp Saturday, one potentially high-impact tactic for finalizing a deal was floated by two prominent players. Quote, I don't understand why we don't just get in a room and iron it out and shake hands, Fever guard Caitlin Clark said. That's how business is. You look at each other in the eye, you shake hands, you respect both sides. For me, that's what I would love to see. And the WNBA PA Vice President Breanna Stewart agrees. I think that would be great for us all to sit in a room until we really get it done, Stewart said. If that means sitting in there for hours and hours at a time, then let's do it. That's for the better of the player. While a situation like that has never happened before, there's a first time for everything. She further said, we want the deal to be done. We want to have the season. We just need to find the right numbers that reflect it. If this bargaining session is to happen, it is going to happen today, March the 9th, the day before the deadline. And the reason is, according to the article, that although Breanna Stewart had been down in Miami participating in Team USA's training camp before they went on to San Juan, when they boarded the plane to San Juan yesterday, Breanna Stewart boarded a plane headed back to New York City, and presumably to work on negotiations for this new collective bargaining agreement. And so we haven't heard today whether or not that huge summit took place or it didn't take place. My personal assessment would be that it would have taken place, since all the primary players, with the exception of Kelsey Plum, who was in San Juan, all the rest of the primary players would be in New York, or would be able to be in New York for that bargaining session. And so hopefully that's what we've got going today. We haven't heard any news on that. Meanwhile, turning to USA basketball, it has been a weekend. It seems like it's been a fun weekend for the participants down at USA Basketball. Here we see Caitlin arriving on the scene this previous Friday night. The first order of business for Caitlin and for the rest of Team USA was a media availability in which she had a few things to say regarding her own rehabilitation from injury this past season. So let's just take a listen to what Caitlin had to say regarding her rehabilitation and how she's feeling.
I've always been a person that's going to just rely on my work. Like, I feel like it's certainly made me work harder, but that's also probably the part that kind of stunk about it, is I felt like I put in so much time and so much energy going into last season. And then obviously I only appeared in about 13 games, and some of those probably wasn't as healthy as I probably should have been. So I think just relying on that, I think for me, like, obviously I didn't have, like, it's not like I, hurt my knee or, was in, like, tore my Achilles or something like that. Obviously, knock on wood, it was kind of these nagging injuries that continued to build up and dealt with one on top of the other. And I think that was probably almost, played with my mind even more than, like, knowing I was going to be out for a set period of time. I was, like, always trying to come back. And then I'd get hurt in another way. And then, finally, obviously shutting it down, I've had a good, 6 months or maybe more. And I think the first USA basketball camp was a great checkpoint for me. And I felt really great. Honestly, I was impressed with, like, how with it I felt. Like, sometimes I felt like it maybe would take me a day or two to really get my first step back. But I felt like myself out there. So just relying on that, and just remind myself who I am and what I've been, and I didn't lose that. So just continue to do that.
This is a super important answer that she gave, and a super important part of the interview. Two things to drill down upon that. This is not the first time that she's spoken about her injury and her rehabilitation. She also spoke about it on Sue Bird's podcast a few months ago, but this is the first time that we've really heard it out of her own mouth, exactly what she went through, exactly what the experience was like for her last season, exactly how injured was she. There was a lot of speculation last season as to the extent of her injury, as to the nature of her injury, and to her, it seems like it was just the most frustrating process in the world. She felt like she was just continually trying to get healthy and continually having setback after setback after setback. And also, very importantly, she talked about how she felt like probably she returned to the court a little bit sooner than she probably should have, that she tried to power through her injuries a little bit more than she probably should have. And that was reflected in the statistics that she put up. And everybody sort of understands and knows that Caitlin was not really playing like herself as she was in the beginning of the season during that stint when she had returned to the game. So just hearing that process from her, I think that it really should shed a lot of light on the subject for Caitlin fans and for people that are not huge fans of Caitlin. I think that a lot of people out there want this to be the new normal for Caitlin, and I think that what Caitlin is saying essentially is that not only is this not the new normal for Caitlin, but that she is feeling better than ever, and that she's eager to resume where she was, or even to be better than she was than she was prepared to be last season. And so that's really encouraging. The other thing to really talk about with this particular interview is the very final part of it, when she says that she felt like her old self again, that she wants to continue to embrace being herself, and that she understands who she is, who she has been, and who she will be. And that, I think, is something that's very important. And it's something that Caitlin has talked about before, that she's worked hard to get to the place where she has been in the past, and that where she will be again. And the work that she's put in over the off season, both in terms of her rehabilitation and also in terms of her leveling up from even where she was before, that's something that we're going to see hopefully manifest on the court for Team USA and for the Fever moving forward into the WNBA season. And so there's a really, really good interview. I recommend that people watch the whole thing. But that was the first step of Team USA basketball, was her giving that interview. And then they hit the court. Obviously, they hit the court, and you see these are all videos that were released by USA Basketball. You see that there she is right there. You see them getting ready for practicing and listening to Caitlin kind of talk about what makes this debut special for her.
Caitlin, what makes this debut special for you?
Man, I think, this is every kid's dream. I think I wrote it down when I was in like 3rd grade. So I'm just excited about this opportunity. And I remember Kara Cowan talking to us, like when me and Paige, and I know AB isn't here, but even I played with Ryan on the U19 team. Like on the junior national teams, there's only going to be like a couple of you that end up making it to make a senior debut. So whether that's the World Cup, whether the World Cup qualifier, whether that's, the Olympics, every single part of it and part of the journey is really special. So I know we're a ways away even from the World Cup, and obviously a ways away from the Olympics, but this is still really exciting in itself and kind of the first step in this journey.
This has been obviously a life goal for Caitlin. This has been something that she's worked towards for a long time. It should have come, her opportunity, in 2024, but it did not. But now it's here. It's 2026, and she is on the USA Senior National Team, and it's just very exciting for her. It's obviously exciting as a Caitlin fan who's been a Caitlin fan for a long time, seeing her start down the process to achieving one of her life dreams, but obviously also just listening to her talk about the history of the USA National Team and how much it means to her when she was a little girl, that she dreamed of being in this spot. Now here she is. That's something that's super important, and it's a good window into not only Caitlin, but also the mentality of everybody that's there. This is a dream for every single woman that's on that court, and Caitlin is no different. But this is a resultant of the hard work that she's put in, not only throughout the course of her career up until now, but also specifically during the rehabilitation process that she's undergone for the last 6 months. So it's all paying off for her right here, and I just couldn't be happier for her. Then we continue on the journey. We're sort of looking at here the end to the first day of practice, ended with a shooting competition, and let's just see how that went for Caitlin and her team. And it's good to see Caitlin drain a deep three to win the competition, as we've seen her do in the past. But another thing that I just really want to talk about here that I think is super important is just that when Caitlin came into the league, she was treated by most of the league that was not a member of the Fever as an outsider. And even some members of the Fever initially treated her as an outsider. But as they continued to work with her and understand who she was, not only as a player, but as a person, they continued to be more and more accepting of her. And we're seeing that dynamic play itself out again here. We're seeing that dynamic now that Caitlin's been in the league a couple of years, now that Caitlin has very publicly gone through some trials and tribulations, now that people see who she is and understand who she is as a player, that they're more and more accepting of her and not sort of treating her as an outsider as much as they had treated her in her rookie season especially. And so that's just really good for me to see, and I think that for many Caitlin fans to see, because the fact of the matter is that she's not what a lot of people that are kind of on the outside looking in assume her to be. She's not what you would expect. She's a goofball, right? She's, in a lot of ways, you know, she's a kid, she's a troll, you know, she doesn't have these like grand machinations of plans or anything like that. She just wants to play basketball, and now here she is in her element. And no matter how good she is in front of the media, which is, you know, obviously she's excellent, this is her real habitat. And for everybody in the league and all of the influential players in the league to see her not as the person that they assumed her to be, but actually as the person that she is, the goofball that she is, the kid that she is, it can be nothing but good things can come of that. And also, she's really good at basketball. That's just the bottom line. She's really good. And so when she is winning competitions for them, when not only in USA basketball training camps, but when she starts winning games for USA basketball, and when they start relying on her and relying on that deep three, she no longer is the enemy that they thought that she was. She is one of them. And that's really all that anybody can ask for. So a good training camp for her, a good first day. The Fever social media admin got in on the action as well. There's an excellent shot of Caitlin running the point. There's another one of Caitlin just really enjoying her time. As a Caitlin fan, this is all you want to see right here. This is it. Just Caitlin being in her element, Caitlin enjoying herself. There's not a forced smile at all. This is a natural smile. It's been a long time. It's been a long time for her, and it's been a long time for her fans, and I personally couldn't be more thrilled to see this. And so all that culminated in the conclusion of the sort of mini camp and their final act before they flew down to San Juan, publicity photos. And here it is. This is the photo that every Caitlin fan has been waiting for, and Caitlin herself has been waiting for years. This is the official Team USA Caitlin Clark photo, and you'll notice that she is wearing number 12. That is an official number. That is her official Team USA jersey that she will be wearing in competition. The number 12 was previously worn by Diana Taurasi, which is fitting that Caitlin would be the one to inherit the number 12 from the greatest of all time. So here it is, the official Team USA Caitlin Clark photo. There's no information on when jerseys will go on sale. However, once they do, as soon as it hits the streets, it will leave the streets because it will be completely sold out within 10 seconds of it being available. It's going to be the hottest women's basketball jersey ever, and it will never be topped. There's just one more thing to talk about in today's video, and that is the schedule of the games that are coming up. And let's take a look at that right now. Thanks to WNBA Louvre for putting up this graphic. Here is the schedule for the entire run of the FIBA qualifying this coming week. So everything is going to start on Wednesday, March the 11th. That is 2 days from now. It's going to be the USA versus Senegal at 2 p.m. Pacific time. Then it's going to be Thursday, the day after, March the 12th, USA versus Puerto Rico at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Then after that, Saturday, March the 14th, USA versus Italy at 2 p.m. Pacific. Then March 15th, that's Sunday, USA versus New Zealand at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And then Tuesday, March the 17th, USA versus Spain at 2 p.m. Pacific time. All these games are going to be broadcast, as I said before, on TNT and truTV, so they should be readily accessible to everybody, regardless of where you are in the globe. And ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a great week of basketball. Hopefully, we're going to have some news regarding the WNBA CBA, but other than that, everything should be pretty well cleared out. There's not going to be any NCAA action in the intervening span. Unrivaled obviously is over. AU is obviously over. In the Euro leagues are obviously off right now. So this is it. this is going to be all the focus of women's basketball. The entire women's basketball world is going to be on this and on other qualifying matches around the world, but this is the main event. Every single person is going to be tuned in to see Team USA. Every single person is going to be tuned in to see Caitlin's return to the court, and it's just going to be a really fun time. It's going to be a great week of basketball. Hopefully we get some positive news, as I said, about the CBA as well. But ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be it. It's a really, really exciting time to be a Caitlin Clark fan. It seems like everything is happening all at once. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really excited to experience this with you. If we do get any news regarding the CBA, I will be on it as soon as I can be. One way or another, I'm expecting there's going to be news of some sort. So you'll probably see another video from me then. But ladies and gentlemen, other than that, we're just going to take it in as we can, and we're going to enjoy it. So, ladies and gentlemen, please let me know if you enjoyed the video. Please like it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and please share it with your friends. At the most recent count, we're at 208 subscribers. Amazing. We can keep building on that. Let's keep building a community where we can celebrate Caitlin and celebrate her return to the court and celebrate Team USA. Really, really excited to do all that with you. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the CC Report, and we'll see you in the next one.